Okay, so we're going to use the spline tool today. So sketch, let's choose the front plane. I can click N to go normal to, P to get rid of my planes. Now the spline tool up here is a really useful tool for kind of organic shapes. So you can, if you want, just click completely randomly and you get a lovely random shape. From here, we could add in some additional points if we wanted to. So I could click on add spline control point, click there, and I get an additional point, or click here and I get an additional point. I can click on them and I can drag them around. I can click on these handles and I can drag this around to change how the end point might be tangent or not to something. So just to make this a little bit quicker, let's get rid of some of these points by clicking on them, pressing delete. I'm going to click on that one, press delete, and I'm going to, let's click on this one and press delete. So now I've only got 4 points technically. So we're going to start by making this end part constrained. So I'm going to click on here and here, and I'm going to make those two horizontal. And then I'm going to click on this line, and I'm going to click V to make it vertical. I'm going to do the same over here. I'm going to click V to make that one vertical, and I'm also going to constrain this to be horizontal. You could obviously add dimensions for these endpoints if you so wanted to. Now they're still blue, which means they can move around. So if I get my D for dimension tool, click once on there, click once on here, and press enter, or sorry, click again, I can type in 130, and let's say we want this one to be a bit shorter. I've clicked on each of the points, clicked again, and I'm going to make this one 80. Okay, so there are those points so far. Now from there, I'm going to click on my dimension tool again, and I'm going to get this point to be 30 as well. And I'm going to click on here with my dimension tool, and I'm going to make this one 50. So I can then move this point around, and I can move this point around as well. So let's go something like this. Now these points are just floating randomly. So what you could do is you could add some construction lines going up here. You could make this like so. You could build a construction line going vertically if you so wished, going across if you so wished, and going down. And you could make this point here vertical by clicking on V. And this in terms of, and this can move up and down. So you could add a dimension from here down to here, and you could say make that 90. And from there, you could drag this point and you could attach it. And now that's only going to move side to side, and then you can add a dimension from here to here, and we could say that needs to be 65. That could be one way of getting that point back. Or you can just dimension it from a point. So let's say we're dimensioning everything from the left-hand side. So if I was going to do that, I'd technically delete that point, and I would get a dimension from there to there, and make that 210. And then I would click on here, and click on, sorry, that's already good. That's fine. Okay. You could then dimension this point here. So press escape to come out of everything. Get your dimension tool by clicking on D. Click on, say, this point at the bottom and click here. And we're going to make this 142. Press enter. And then click on here and click on here. And we could make this vertically. It's going to let me go vertically. There we go. Say 12 millimeters. And just to tidy that up, we could bring that over to the left-hand side, like so. You could obviously dimension these points from anywhere. So we could dimension it from the origin, we could dimension it from a top corner, whatever you want to do. Quite useful, very good little tool. I'm going to go and trim this. So click M on the keyboard for trim, get rid of this, get rid of this. I can zoom in and I can get rid of, if my computer's going to catch up, get rid of this as well. We're left with that point there, so I can click on it, press delete. And now I just have this kind of outline sketch at the moment. I'm going to make this point here and this point here coincidence by clicking on I on the keyboard. And I'm going to give this a dimension from here to here of, say, 120. Okay, so I've now got just a completely random, not quite fully constrained, that point and that point need to be horizontal. They're now fully constrained kind of outline. I can go up and I can get my spline bezier, and I could click on this point, and I could click on this point, and I could click on this point, and I could click on this point over here. And I now have a kind of random spline. I could then go and dimension this. So I could say that I want this point with the dimension tool to be from there to there. I could make it 35, and that will move it along. I could say I want this point from here to here to be 25. I Okay, and immediately that is fully constrained because we can't move this up and down, we can't move it side to side because it's attached to here, the same with this point and the same with these points. Okay, so having construction lines can be really, really useful. If we wanted to just use our Bezier freehand, we can click, 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 press escape, and then I have my point. Now, in order to change the degrees of freedom, so I've got 6 at the moment, I can double click on here, and I can press 8, and that's going to give me 8 points that I can move around. Okay, from there you then have to dimension it. So we could dimension, say, I don't know, the length of this line, we could make it 80. We could potentially say that this point and this point are vertical by clicking V on the keyboard. It's going to take a long time to dimension it because we can obviously move all of these, but we could then dimension this distance. So we're going to make that 60. If we wanted to, we could then make an angle here. We could make this angle 250, and then you could basically build around and get that curve exactly as you want it to be. So that is the spline tool. Very complicated if you have to put all the dimensions in, or not complicated, should I say time consuming, but it does allow you to have some really nice organic shapes.